is Ali, and this is my sourdough story.
So how did you get started making sourdough?
I'm on the sourdough side of TikTok. I see a lot of people making their starter and they said, oh, look how easy it is. And then you don't need to buy bread anymore. You can just make your own bread. So I was like, that's a good idea.
So can you give me a rundown of the steps of how to make sourdough for the whole process?
The rundown is the first thing you do is you have to have a starter. This is Fido. She's about 20 days old, I think. I'll check later. Her name is Fido, named from the Pokemon, and her second name is Brad because she's not yet bred. Your starter needs to mature depending on how you make it and what kind of flour you put into it. Basically mix equal parts flour and water. You go like that on and on again until at least 2 weeks before it's ready. Again, it really depends on temperature of your house, temperature of the starter. There's a lot of factors that can contribute to a good starter. For my starter, I started with all-purpose flour and just plain water. So after you have a mature starter, which mine took about 3 weeks to mature, the steps itself is to do something called an autolyse, and an autolyse is basically mixing flour and water into a shaggy dough. And because Malaysia is hot, I only left it for 30 to 40 minutes because the hotter it is, the faster that it will ferment and the gluten will develop. So I don't leave it for that long because I don't want it to over ferment. I kind of don't want to stop touching it. After the 30 or 40 minutes is up, I added my starter and then mixed that into the dough. And then after the starter is fully incorporated into the dough, then only I add salt, which the salt just helps with fermentation. After that is something called stretch and folds, or I now do slap and folds, which is quite aggressive. But I realized that if you love it a little too kindly, it doesn't work. I pivoted to a very aggressive way of making sourdough and it works. I don't recommend it for your starter. You have to be kind and loving and gentle to your starter. But to your dough, you gotta hate it a little bit. At least that's my experience. Most people do stretch and folds, which is you stretch the dough up, you shake it a little bit, and then you fold it over on itself, and then quarter turn, and then you do it 4 times. After that, you leave it 30 to 40 minutes again, and then that continues until your dough doubles in size. After that, you do your first shape, you leave it for 10 minutes, and then you do your final shape. Then you put it in a banneton for about an hour and a half to fully rise again, because you did a lot of shaping and you kind of deflated a lot of the bubbles from the shaping. So you want to let it rise again. A lot of people put it into the fridge overnight so the sourness can develop, but I personally don't like a very heavily sour sourdough. So I just put it in the freezer for 30 minutes, and while it's in the freezer for 30 minutes, I preheat my Dutch oven. When the 30 minutes is up, I score and then bake it.
Based on your knowledge, it must have went well the first time around?
No.
Oh no. Do you want it?
I don't know.
It's pretty smooth.
Tight, but it's sticking to me. It's supposed to stick. It's not supposed to stick anymore. It smells so sour. I am going to try to score this, but I don't know if it will. I don't even think that's enough. I think I'm just smooshing it. This is an expansion score, so hopefully when it rises, it expands. don't know. I don't have high hopes because I skipped a step last night. I don't know how essential that step was. Pray for him. I don't know how this would go. It looks better than I thought it would, but I still have about 10 minutes left, so hopefully it browns and crisps up. I don't know, I have very low expectations because I skipped a very important step last night. I forgot to let it rest for an hour and a half. Also because it was like 11. But I completely missed that step. I think when I make it, I might actually make it tomorrow because I thought was happy. And Fido is just fed, so I might make it tomorrow again because I think I did well up until that very last step. It rose quite a bit. I have very extremely low expectations. I maybe will have some bubbling, like on the inside, not bubbling. What's that called? I don't know what it's called. I don't know
The holes.
Yeah, like I think there will be some holes, but I think it'll still be gummy. It looks gummy from here. But again, I still have about 9 to 10 minutes left on the bake. That's hot.
Do you know my hair?
I need to see if there's space over there. Daisy, move. This will continue to cook on the inside. Ooh. I'm supposed to tap the ball. Actually, what is the button? Doesn't look that good. I have very low expectations for this because it doesn't look the best. It did rise, which is great because I made the yeast myself. See lah, later when I cut into it, it might just be hollow completely on the inside, which is also a possibility, or it might be a brick, or it may look like bread. We don't know. Until I cut into it, that is maybe at 1 p.m. Yeah. I'm expecting this to be gummy on the inside. I don't think it's gonna be fluffy at all. It's not even coming through. Yeah, it feels gummy. Yeah, it's gonna be an eraser. Okay, 1, 2, 3, gummy.
The base though.
See, it's like gluten. It's not good. I think that one's gonna be the same. See, not good. And this is not cooked fully.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
This is the one that's.
Yeah, the base
See?
can. Yeah.
This is the base. I'm expecting that one to be the same. Well, Daisy, you're gonna have a lot of bread. This is not good. I knew it. I didn't leave it
To aerate.
to aerate. I just put it in the fridge, which was my mistake. Cut. It's not cutting. That's not supposed to happen, see? And it's so heavy. It smells like sourdough. Then let it aerate. Lesson learned. We'll come back when I have baking paper. I was following a recipe like to the T by this white lady. She's really good at making sourdough, but I think she's really good at making sourdough in her country where I think it's colder and less humid. So I followed it to the T, and it was over fermented and it was way too much. I didn't realize that her recipe called for 2 loaves. It was a recipe for 2 loaves and quite big loaves. I'm just feeding me and Chuan, so I don't know why I thought a whole bag of flour would be good for 2 people. So that's a kilo. That I have to use the whole thing? Jesus! How many does this feed a village? I'm not made of money. That was something. I had a lot of crash outs during that one, but I think it's to be expected from the first time.
After the first attempt that didn't go so well, when did you re-attempt again?
It's 2 days after. Let's try again. I don't know what I did. It was much better than the first time, I think. It was still gummy and it was dense and it was still huge. And I think the problem was that I was open baking, and I feel personally that Dutch oven baking is much better for me.
So second time didn't work out. Third time's the charm?
No, it was not the charm. Not at all.
Fourth time's the charm?
No.
So fifth time's the charm?
Yes. So the 5th time is the loaf that I regard to be as my first successful loaf. The bread is done. It just needs to be cooled. Now I'm just taking it out of the oven. It's a little bit on the darker side, but it's okay, I think. Shh, it looks amazing. It looks like a brain. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, let's go, baby. She looks good. Does she? I'm not sure. Okay, not my issue. That is. Oh my god, it's so good! It's hard, it's firm, it's. Oh, it's hollow! Oh my god! This is Fido in her full form. It's very light, like compared to the other bricks that I've made. Okay, pray.
That looks good.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
It's bread.
Okay. It is still a little bit gummy, but for the most part, it's bouncing back. It is sour. Ooh, it is a little bit gummy, like at the base, but I think it is a large improvement. I hope you're hungry for nothing. Because it's empty. Okay, it's cutting through. Jesus. Trying my hardest. Okay. This is why people have the sourdough cutter thingies. Cut. Oh my god.
So what was the biggest change you've made since the first attempt compared to your 5th attempt?
I think the biggest change was I took into account the factors that affect making sourdough. I think in the time between my first loaf and my 5th loaf, I understood more about sourdough making. Like, heat makes fermentation speed up, cold makes it slow down. I also took into account the size of the loaf that I was making. Before this, I was making very quite large loaves, I think 500-gram loaves, and that was way too big and I couldn't handle a dough of that size. I've since been making about 350-gram dough sizes.
So what is your biggest takeaway from learning how to make sourdough, and would you recommend someone else to try?
Don't do it. Okay, well, no. Not don't do it, but I feel like if you have the time, because it is very time consuming, it takes about, I would say, 8 to 12 hours, depending again on the temperature. It's a fun experience if you enjoy baking. If you've ever made those little box cakes or box cookies and hated it, then don't make sourdough because you're gonna hate it. But if you do love baking, or if you want to just try a new experience, then I feel like, try it. Get an active starter. Don't start from scratch because the starter is gonna kill you. Making sourdough starter in the first 3 days, people don't talk about this on TikTok. I realized unless you're properly in the niche. In the first 3 days of making your starter, it smells so bad. The whole kitchen, I couldn't stand to be in the kitchen because it smelled so bad. We had to air out the kitchen. It was, I cannot. I am not overstating or understating this. It is so bad. But if you push through that and you'll have an active bubbly starter, it's beautiful. I guess my biggest takeaway is that I'm more patient than I give myself credit for. I didn't realize this, but I'm like a go-getter. I'm gonna do it until it's perfect, even though it sucks. Like cutting into a bread that's hard and is basically a brick. I think persistence is something that I never thought I had until making sourdough, which is a good thing. My name is Ali, and that was my sourdough story.